We want to work with the United States in peace and security within the region because we are committed to that. And we just want to thank you so much for this opportunity.
Well, thank you. And such good English, such beautiful. Where did you learn to speak so beautifully? Where were you educated? Where?
Yes, sir.
In Liberia.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's very interesting. It's beautiful English.
Imagine using improper English to tell somebody they speak good English. What is good English? Donald Trump is the most illiterate president in the world right now. I'm a Liberian and our official language in Liberia is English. He should know that because of Liberia's relationship with America. But then again, we don't expect him to know because he's ignorant. Just because somebody has an accent does not mean they speak incorrect English as he does. This man uses double negative, Liberian will say, literally in every sentence. Huge, humongous, big, the same, literally in the same sentence. I will say triple negative instead of double negative. My mom calls that with her Liberian accent, and I know English. When my mom asks you a question and you say, and I know, she's gonna be like, what is that? What is that? We grow up speaking proper English. He never learned proper English. He makes America shame every stage he gets on the public stage. My 9-year-old daughter speaks proper English than he does.
Oh my God, America, you should be embarrassed because this is like embarrassment galore. What in the caucasity is this racist mess? First off, any good host, which Trump most definitely is not, would have done their homework on their guests. This is President Joseph Boakai of Liberia, a country in West Africa. In Liberia, they speak English. It's their national language. Secondly, if you guys weren't spending so much negative energy erasing Black history, you would know the historical connection between the United States of America and Liberia. Like, I don't know, that in the mid-19th century, thousands of African Americans moved to Liberia to reconnect with their African roots. But no, because you spent all that energy on the wrong thing, you ended up producing an obtusely illiterate, racist white president. Clap for yourselves. Third, President Trump was being overtly racist to President Joseph Boakai. He had measured President Boakai's articulation and intelligence by his ability to speak English. People, that is freaking racism. He expressed astonishment that an African president could speak English so well, even asking him where he went to school. Racial microaggression 101. This is no different from asking, but where are you really from? Oh, you speak well for a Black person. All of that in full display of the whole world. And don't be fooled by the laughter you heard from President Boakai. That laughter was a sign that this was a tense situation. And Black people use laughter a lot to diffuse situations, tense situations, especially in the workplace. Understand that all those African leaders seated at a table at the White House with the President of the United States, that was a workplace. This was a work thing. And if President Boakai had responded to Trump the way Trump deserved to be responded to, we know white people would have perceived him as aggressive and confrontational, and not the only person in the room who was being aggressive and confrontational, President Trump.
You are the people at that table that can't speak English. It's you. The call's coming from inside the room, sir. It's you.
So Donald Trump has the president of Liberia at the White House. And can we have one day in this country where Donald Trump doesn't embarrass all Americans on a world stage in front of everybody? One day. Can one day go by? Donald Trump has the president of Liberia in the White House, and he looks at this guy dead ass in his face and says, "Oh, you speak such good English. Where'd you go to school at? You speak such good English." To the president of Liberia. What is the point of having 1,000 advisors around you? What is the point of having all these advisors if no one is going to give you a rundown of who the people you're meeting are before you meet him? I understand the president is functionally illiterate, and I understand he has no sense of history, but the official language of Liberia is English.
Donald Trump tells leaders and other politicians of Liberia that he speaks very good English. Now, where some may find this as just a compliment, it is in fact a big embarrassment for Donald Trump and the United States. Now, if you don't know, Liberia's official first language is English. That is the language they speak. So to tell somebody whose country speaks English that they speak very good English is like telling a Frenchman that he speaks very good French. This is something that does not look good for America, and it doesn't look good for Africa either. This is how an African leader is treated when visiting America, that the president of the United States didn't even bother to do a quick 1-second Google search and just type in what language do Liberians speak. It would have saved him the trouble and embarrassment. And it's also something that would, like I say, it would never happen to any of the other people or European countries. You will never see the president of the United States telling the German chancellor that they speak good English, or telling the French that they speak good English. This is a way of how they still look down on many of the African people, to have, like I say, the nerve to tell an African that they are speaking good English, despite that being their first language, and despite, like I say, the fact that Donald Trump himself doesn't know anything about Liberia, despite Liberia being the creation almost of many black American slaves that were freed, and it was established somewhere in the early 1800s, I believe. So to tell such a people that they're speaking good English, like I say, it shows the huge difference in care, because like I say, you can see the difference in how leaders are treated. Let's say the European leaders are treated vastly different to how the African leaders are treated in the United States. And like I say, it really doesn't speak good, especially when you realize the amount of resources, wealth, and money that the African countries actually have. They actually should be going into such meetings as the top people, as the A side, so to speak. They hold more power, more wealth, more resources than nearly all of the European countries. Yet the respect that they garner, the respect that they get, like I say, the president of the United States couldn't even be bothered to do a tiny bit of research on the people he was meeting, to the point where he was even surprised that an African that was sitting in front of him even knew how to speak English. And like I say, this wasn't because he was shocked that English was the first language. This was him being shocked that an African had good English. This was more that he was shocked that an African was speaking English. Like I say, he would never say this to a Frenchman. He would never say to a Frenchman that his English is good. He would never say to a German that the English is good. He would never say to any other Europeans that their English is good and where did you learn it. This sort of behavior is only reserved when the Americans and other Europeans are speaking or hosting other African leaders. And African leaders, I think, need to start to put their foot down and realize that they are the ones with the resources, they are the ones with the power, with the money. You see it time and time again. If there's some big world conference, you see the European leaders will get their own car, will get their own, chaperone to wherever they have to go. Yeah, for the African leaders, they will just put them on one bus. You know what I mean? I think it is time that the African leaders realize that they are now holding all the cards. They are the ones with the money, they are the ones with the wealth. That's why so many Europeans and of course America, they all go to Africa wanting these resources, these deals to happen. So it is not Africa that needs America, it's not Africa that needs Europe. It is Europe and America that needs Africa. And stuff like this, when it happens, like I say, President Donald Trump telling an African leader that he speaks good English just speaks volume of how little that this term, how little Donald Trump and his MAGA supporters, how little they actually care about the people of Africa when they come into these meetings. It is, like I say, it is not good, and it's an embarrassment for Donald Trump. A quick Google search would have saved him that embarrassment, but like I say, he couldn't even be bothered to just do a tiny bit of research on who he was hosting. It's not a good look, it's really not. But what do you guys think? Do you think it was a slip of the tongue? Do you think he didn't mean it that way? Or do you think is exactly how it seemed, that he was just once again an American leader looking down on an African leader? But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.